Brandon and Michael should be on Zoom. And can you see that?
Nope, I can see there's 5 people.
Brandon and Ted, please rejoin us, analysts, you'll be able to share your screen.
I knew the one thing you put numbers. No, what I asked you. You obviously don't.
Okay.
I want me to do things.
Did I miss it? 2:58.
Hey, we're ready.
All right, well, it's almost not quite 3, but
Oh, sorry.
Brandon and Michael are on.
No, Brandon and Ted. There's no Michael.
Oh, that's right. Michael said he's gonna be a little bit, he's got a short meeting. That's right. And then I think that. Okay, figure it out. We'll get there.
And I just want to announce we're trying closed captioning. At Sandra's request, it is automated by Zoom, so it is not super accurate, but at home, people are seeing some sort of closed captioning, so no promises to its accuracy, but hope it's helpful.
All right. Oh, I guess the microphones are working. I'm hearing an echo. Welcome to the Loch Alpine Sanitary Authority meeting, regular board meeting, October 6th, 2025, 3 p.m. Let's bring this meeting to order at 3. Yes. Clerk Flintoff, could you call the roll, please?
Dorney,
Here.
Brabant, absent, D'Angelo,
Here.
Harms,
Here.
Flintoff here, Carrie,
Here.
Gapel,
Here.
we have quorum.
Okay. Adoption of the agenda. There's a couple of invoices that came in, so we will be including them under payment of the bills. You should each have a copy of them. And that's it as far as my additions. Clerk Flintoff, you had mentioned earlier that you had something.
Yeah, I just had a change under unfinished business. I mean, my hope is we can spend the time we need to spend on K1 and K2. If we have time for K3 and K4, is in my humble opinion, less important for today. K3 should have been listed as discussion only. And as you'll see in the background, there's yellow highlighting and things. I had updated that entire page and written a whole page I thought I had saved that I did not. So it is, if it looks like exactly what was presented last time, it was. So apologies for that.
That was gonna be my question. I'm like, it looks the same.
Yeah, and I actually have a table that's almost done and things, so we can have that discussion, but I had thought I was more prepared than I was, and I discovered that too late today. Thanks.
Okay. Is there anything else? No. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda as amended?
Move. I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Agenda is adopted 6-0. All right, correspondence received. You have, I have that out of order.
I don't think there is any.
Yeah, no, there's some for the ops meeting. That's right. Okay. All right. Public comment. This is the time for members of the public to speak to the LASA board for up to 5 minutes on any matter. We begin with anyone present. We do not have anyone present. So Clerk Flintoff, could you check online to see if anybody is interested?
If you'd like to speak, please raise your Zoom hand. First up is Rob Pattinson. Hi, Rob.
Hi, everyone. Jeff, don't forget to record on Zoom. It's not recording yet.
Ah,
Recording in progress.
There we go. Thank you.
thanks, Rob.
Anyone else? No other hands?
No other
Oh,
hands.
okay. Next is approval of the minutes. Possible action, approval of the draft minutes of the LASA Board special meeting of September 15, 2025.
So I have something on this one. On page 6, it'll be J3, when you guys went into closed session, it says that I moved to come out of open, return to open session, but I was not here.
Let me
Wait a minute.
Oh, yeah.
go back. I'm sorry, that was my error.
Oh, no big deal. No.
No,
I'd like to go back to my handwritten notes, if we can come back to this at the end of the meeting. I'll just run and grab those so I can get the.
Sure.
Or we can just correct it. And I assure you, I'll go back to my handwritten notes to correct that.
Yeah, you do have above where it says absent D'Angelo and Yeaple. Huh.
Yeah,
Okay, do you wanna wait till later or?
or we can just correct it if you're comfortable with that, Supervisor D'Angelo. That will correct it, noting that the clerk will correct that name.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay. All right. Is there a motion to approve the draft minutes as amended?
I'll move. Oh, wait, I can't. Sorry. That was in
Oh,
here.
no, you
can.
yeah.
Oh, okay, I'll move.
Okay,
Second.
all right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Draft minutes are adopted as amended, as approved. 6-0. All right, where is that? Okay, yes, consent agenda payment of the bills. So at the time of publishing, we just had the one invoice from F&V for October. And then we are including Pfeffer, Hannaford, and Polka, the CPAs that have provided us audit. And also Pear, Sperling, Egan, and Daniels for the month of August. There was an email that came through. July has been paid, approved and paid, and we are waiting for September, which is just early October. So that'll be in the next, it'll be in the payment of the bills with the check run, one of those, because we won't meet until January, I'm assuming, when we adopt the schedule. So for the payment of the bills, is there a motion for paying these 3 invoices?
Motion to approve the bills as presented.
Is there a support?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Bills are approved to be paid, 6-0. Okay. Now we come to reports. And we begin with, excuse me, F&V Brandon Damon, our operations. They provide operations for our system. And Brandon, there you are. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. So I
So-
included, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go
Brandon,
ahead,
there-
go ahead, Jillian, go ahead.
We talked earlier to clarify, just back-to-back agenda items or agendas, so I just, we included the copper above the action level in your drinking water fact sheet, and I'm not really sure why we did that, unless it was just, we should have put that under something else, but anyway, you can explain.
Yeah, so we did finish up the lead and copper sampling. We did have 2 residents with high results. Both of those residents, all residents who sampled have been notified of their results. That is the rule. We've notified everybody, and anybody with high results, we notified as soon as we could. As soon as we got those results, I was sending them out by mail. And that resident that had the one resident did not respond back in any way. The second resident was resampled, and his results then in turn came back lower, due to a missampling, a misunderstanding of the sampling. Andrea assisted with that a little bit as well. Thank you, Andrea. But we collected a total of 25 samples. 24 of those, which will be counted with Eagle. Everything's now been submitted to them. And when I was looking through the results, our 90th percentile should be around the 8 to 7 range in lead for their 90th percentile. But that goes to the state, and the state then will actually do the final calculation and give us those final results. It'll take a couple months for us to get those back. And they did, because we did have the 2 high results, that's what triggered them to send those documents to us as well.
Okay.
I spoke to the resident yesterday and tried to talk to him about the fact that, you know, you got the action limit, but also, you know, the EPA goal of 0, and you got the conflict between those 2. You know, you're just having a hard time with that. How that the action limit is 12, but you know the EPA goal is 0. And I told them that the results for the monthly sampling for this year's sampling, not monthly, this year's sampling, hasn't come back yet from Eagle, and we're waiting on those results. I hope that I explained it well.
Thank you.
It's a hard thing to explain, Andrea, because the
Yeah.
rule changes so frequently. But from everything that I've looked over, we do not have an action level exceedance. We're within the standards the state set. We're below the 12. And I've heard nothing back from them at this point.
Brandon, so the results that have come back, this is the water that comes from our well to service the whole Lhasa area, that is tested for lead and copper, or has been?
That has been tested, and there is no presence of lead in that. The lead and the copper comes from the pipes inside the home. Because Loch Alpine has no true lead service lines, we're only required to pull a first liter sample, which is more of a representation of what's at the tap. And I don't know, what do they say? They say, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 feet within your pipes. So it's really isolated to inside the home.
I did bring up investigative sampling with the resident, in case he was interested, and I hope that we could help him out with that, getting to Washtenaw County. If he is interested, I don't know if he's going to respond on that issue or not.
What does that entail?
If investigative sampling is basically sampling at every tap, trying to figure out if one of the taps has a higher lead level of the others.
Okay.
And they use smaller bottles because they just want to set that tap, because normally you're filling a liter, and if you're just doing 1 tap at a time, they're doing, basically 250 mils, to just sample that, the one fixture you're worried about or think you're worried about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I was just wondering what the kind of talk amongst the community is, if there's anything we should do to kind of put out more information, or are people concerned about this? I know it was, what, just 2 years
So it's a
ago?
lot of-
Yeah, I mean, we had that big meeting, what, 2 years ago, Brandon? Two and a
Mhm.
half?
Yes.
Not long ago. And I think we learned through that experience, like how much just kind of educating. I know on our lassawater.org page, Michael had quickly put up some basic information on that, but I don't know if there's more information we want to push out. What are you hearing from residents, Andrea?
The resident messaged the LEI board and they were concerned, and they basically said back to my lap. The Eagle has very specific ways they want you to notify people.
Right,
They got their own
remember.
page right now, and with any exceedance, they basically want their information sent out.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically, like the fact sheet they sent out, that's the one they want out. They don't want us to change it.
Mm-hmm.
So, basically it's a matter of reposting.
Well, there's, the other day, Brandon and I there's a list of different things that the state provided. And you
Mhm.
found that short video, it was like a minute and a half, and it was really helpful.
Yeah, the state, Andreas, on their website, I found they have some "Where Does the Lead Come From" YouTube videos that they've put out, and some things like that. I mean, you could possibly put links to those if you'd like.
That's an idea. Brandon, I get, driving by the valve on, the leaking valve on the hill.
Oh,
It's-
yes.
Yeah, it seems to be leaking worse the last couple days. I don't know if it'll dry up a little, but right now it's going pretty good across the, street. Just to let you know.
Yes, thank you, Andrea. That kind of fell off my radar just a little bit. Because I know I've talked to DeWolf about that, and if I remember right, I thought we had a price, but maybe we didn't.
And also, what about the buried manhole? And we have another manhole to look at?
Yeah, Andrea, at the operations committee, those are on the list to talk about.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
okay, I know. And also, if there's anything, just write it down for the ops.
Sure.
Yeah, Brandon, are we finished with the lead and copper discussion? Do you have any more questions or? No? Okay. And, I think. Yeah, okay. Thank you for bringing those things up, Andrea,
Mhm.
though. Okay, Brandon, what else you said? Well, I guess a lot of these have to do, other than your monthly report. The three
Yeah,
of
most of
you.
the one thing, we are gonna be starting hydrant flushing October 20th. So that notice, if we can make sure that notice gets posted somewhere. And we'll
Okay.
start flushing on the 20th.
Do you
Sorry.
have a map about where you're going, when?
What's that, Andrea? Sorry,
Do you
I
have
can
a
hardly hear
map
you.
of where you're going, when? Which day, which part of town you're gonna be in?
I have to talk to Colt about that, but he told me he could do it in about 3 days. So
Mm.
it's not gonna be a very long period of time.
And wasn't Michael going to share this out? There's something, or was that something else to? Brandon, was Michael going to push this out? In a bill or invoice or something?
I don't know about that.
Okay, no, I may be
In the
thinking of
past,
something else.
In the past, we've posted it on the website.
Mhm.
I don't know where Michael's at with the bills, because I believe Colt was finishing up reads today.
Okay,
And Michael, is here, Michael. I'm gonna promote you to a panelist, so you can join a little bit, later after Brandon and. intervene.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep. Hi, Michael.
Yes, I can put something on the bill. I've not gotten the reads yet, so.
Well,
Those should go out by next Monday. The bill should.
would that be in time for the October 20th hydrant flushing start?
They will arrive right about that time, yes. Let's see, what are we at? Yeah, they'll get there. If I can get them out on Friday, which is possible, they should arrive on Monday, Tuesday. The flushing starts on the 20th.
Yep.
Yeah, we're fine. They will get there
Okay.
by the 20th. And so I can put on
Wonderful.
something about hydrant flushing right on the bill.
Great. Thank you.
No problem.
All right. Brandon, do you have anything more?
I'm just going down your list here on the thing, but just to touch a little bit on Andrea, the manhole on East Loch Alpine. DeWolf, I reached out to him last week. He told me he was going to get me a price. I haven't gotten anything at this point. I also just sent him pictures of that second manhole we found with some above ground damage today, and see if we can get a price for each of those. So it's on my radar. I'm trying to pin Steve down. And that's really all I have. Oh,
Okay.
one other update. The recirculation pump at the wastewater treatment plant is installed and working.
Awesome.
Mhm. Thank you.
Yep.
Any questions for Brandon? No? Okay. Thank you, Brandon. Well, let's move on to J2. Ted Erickson, our engineer from IMEG.
Do you want me to do the GIS power when their unfinished business portion or?
Oh, well, that,
Do 'em now.
yeah, unfinished business, that was to approve, where did it go?
I guess
Wait a minute.
IMEG is in the GIS is in the new business.
Jillian,
Mhm.
might-
Then Ted could go if he.
No, it's fine. I can stay. It's not a problem.
Well, I guess we could, it doesn't matter. I wasn't really sure. Sometimes when things go under reports, they could get lost, but,
Right,
or,
that's fine, I can wait, that's fine.
and,
I'll defer those two things. The other thing that we're working on is the well house 2 generator. We had a little bit of a hiccup in terms of like getting the layout and where piping is up was, or the power was going through the wall. We have all that figured out, so we're finishing up here probably next week or so.
good. Well,
And then besides the other two things, that's the only other update I had at this point, so.
well, why don't you go ahead, and talk about the water tower project, and then we have the bid later on, so we could just,
So the water tower, that was put out to bid, bids are opened, one bid was arrived on time, and that was from E&L Contractors of Howell, Michigan. There were 126,300, and which the budget we had for this was 150, so I mean, I think that included engineering, so I think we're right on task for this endeavor. There's only one bid, we expected more, but Dixon said they're probably busy and they didn't put their bids in. You know, there's a letter of recommendation. Dixon has good experience. I mean, I think from the perspective that it was competitively bid. Even though there's only one bid that, I mean, we would suggest that this get awarded to the E&L.
okay,
And as part of that, the other thing to do is there's a notice of award to sign.
Mhm.
Basically letting them know that they have the project and everything that's going on. The timing of the project is expected to be the spring of 2026.
weather dependent, right?
Well,
course.
Sure, I mean, spring is a pretty big.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, why don't you go ahead and talk about the GIS system?
Okay, so we put together a proposal to do GIS. So as part of the SOC program and the DWRM projects of years past, we have locations of all the manholes, and water valves, documented, X, Y, and Z locations of all that stuff. It's in a rudimentary GIS system now, but what this is gonna do is get it to an ArcGIS online where the operators can have access to that with their phones. There's an app called Field Data Manager that they would have all that stuff. The cost is, for the IMA portion of it is $8,000. On top of that, there's an annual cost of $750 to buy a creator license, and $400 to buy a worker license. The viewer license is a optional thing. The guys in Manchester bought one of those just so they could put that on their website, or they could share it to a contract or, a third party. They got access to it without having the ability to change it. So for them, it was more about the ability to sorry, getting phone calls at the same time here. For them, it was about the ability just to share the information without having to do the work themselves. So this is their system here. So basically what it does is gives you locations, and if it's on your phone, you'd have a real-time location plus or minus a few feet, but trying to find a manhole plus or minus a few feet is a heck of a lot easier than otherwise. With Manchester, we also set it up so that we could click on a sewer line and call up a cleaning report and from the SAW program. So that all that stuff is just right there. The guy's not trying to go through a list of PDFs. There it is for him. So there's ways to change things, make modifications. I can't show you that because I don't remember how to do it. The manholes have invert elevations listed, rim elevations listed, and someone can go through and fill out all this information. Once it's built, that will be available to edit. So I mean, an operator or someone else could do that too. So that's kind of just a quick overview of what we're proposing to give something similar to Loch Alpine. So
Ted, I have a question. And we might have talked about this before. So you have most of the curb stop locations.
we have some, yes.
You have some. Will there be a way for us to, as we find them? We just did a really big misdig up on the north side of the subdivision. I can't remember the name of the road now. And when we found those curb stops, if you didn't have them, there would be a way for us to add those into the GIS so that we have them for the future.
So there is, and if I think there's a way to add entities, add pieces. So you could say add a curb stop into this location here, and it would, all that's done. I think there needs to be a cleanup on the back end of that, but that you can edit this map, and there's some certain parameters to which I don't quite remember, but you can kind of figure that can work so that those could be added. This is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so we'd have a GIS, like what I have in Brighton. We have a pole with a GPS deal that we can put it right on the curb stop and add a curb stop right there.
Yeah, I believe something like that is available. I can verify that for you, Brandon, but I know that modifications to this map can be made.
Okay, perfect.
You're talking about a Trimble, right?
Yeah, Trimble.
Could be an EOS.
This is basically a location point, right?
Programs ArcGIS, right?
Yes. Yes, it is. It would be hosted by ArcGIS Online.
Yep.
Hence the licensing part of it.
Regarding the internet connection out in Loch Alpine, would that be an issue?
It's, with a cell phone and when we talked about that at the operations committee meeting last, there was a sense that it's gotten better. I mean, you
It's
live there.
better, but there's still bad space other days where all the signals suck.
Yeah, well, and, I guess Brandon, what do you guys think about that? I mean, this is basically whatever your cell phone coverage is the issue.
I've had that problem in Brighton. A lot of the operators, if they're using their phone or whatever, they'll go to where they get service, pull up the map, and it'll stay, and then they can go back to the area that
Oh,
they don't have
okay.
service. So it'll somewhat stay where they're looking. At least it helps. It's better than what we've got now for sure.
And then, I mean, the share bar was in my way. I mean, you can get into the resolution of an aerial, right? So knowing that this manhole is near the edge of that driveway helps you a lot, right? So I think the visual aspect of it with a aerial background helps a lot too. To Brandon's point.
So Ted, who do you see entering in, like, let's say we do cleaning and we have a video of a section or a report of a manhole, who do you see entering in that information, tying it to those points?
Well, anything additional we could do on a time and material basis.
That's something you would do then?
Yes.
Okay.
When you say you, I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Not me.
And is this something that we could, I mean, as part of this agreement, really rely on IMEG to be the one to sort of validate the data? I mean, I'm just thinking over time, we want to build this out, I don't know if there's historical documents, as-built or other things that you want to save in there. Whatever, only what's going to be helpful to you and our operator. But I also know that if we're going to invest in this, I want to make sure that we have a clear protocol for kind of how the data gets in.
Well, like I kind of said, there has to be kind of a follow-up, a cleanup on the data. If something gets added, it has to get added right? And so that someone has to check that. And those can be done in batches. Because I don't think it's that difficult to do. So you get a dozen or so of points to verify, and someone to verify it for an hour or whatever, that kind of work.
Right. It's kind of like whose data is it, right?
Yeah.
So let's say, F&V or IMEG puts in data, then I would want somebody else at IMEG to validate that, right?
Okay.
Like, I mean, just check it, just make, whether it's something, right, things are spelled right,
Well,
it's
the-
coded correctly.
One of the issues with that, well, coded correct is what we can check. One of the issues with
Yeah.
whose data is it, you can buy as many worker licenses as you want, or you can buy one and have people share it, right? In the latter case, you don't have a Ted and a Brandon entering data. You have lots of GIS license entry data, right? So you don't know if Ted or Brandon did it. So-
Yeah, I would want to know if it's Ted or Brandon. I would want it to be person specific.
Well, yeah, you can
I would only imagine we'd have one or two people entering data,
You
right?
can usually, sometimes you can put a tag on it and just
Sure.
with a drop down on who's doing it.
Yeah,
The-
obviously there's ways to handle it, but the no-brainer way is the license, right? So
Right.
if I'm signed in as me and Brandon signed in as Brandon,
Exactly.
you know who exactly who's doing it, but if we're signed into the same account,
And the licenses are reasonable enough that we could just buy 2 licenses.
Yeah, seems like some basic quality control to have it be person based.
Yep.
The best part about the GIS system is you can set up work, work programs for like hydrant flushing or
Right.
for sewer flushing, and then and they set up the program and then run through the entire system and answer a short series of drop downs. And then at the end, you got all your data in one place, which is just so awesome.
Yeah, we've been doing that in SIO.
we're not proposing to do that at this point in time. What we're saying is we have all this data now and we'll get it up here for you. That's what we're saying today, so.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've done
Well,
that.
that's the
too.
first step.
Yes.
And how long do you think that would take for initially to?
It would be the time, the time to do it isn't that much, it's just getting it in line, so probably a matter of months.
Okay,
Where it really shines is winter. When stuff's buried with snow, you can find it.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we could double check when they're paving the roads out there.
Well, that's another thing. I mean, when we talk about that, if you give somebody from LAI access at least to see it, like as a contractor, they'll see the points. So they'll know where stuff is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we should look into doing it.
Well, is there,
I agree. I think
You know, if IMEG can take it on, I just think, we just recently unearthed the one lost a laptop and got the data secure. So I just want to, think 10 years down the road, make sure we're setting something up that we can use. But I think it's great and I appreciate you working on this, Ted.
Yeah, thank you. I'd move the suggested action to approve the service agreement for IMEG to provide services to develop a GIS system for LASA.
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? None, motion passes 6-0. And then we just need to add that to the list of signing. Well, let's go, I guess while we're here, let's go back to the water tower award. The bid to E&L. Oh, where did they go? Anybody find it? Oh, you know what, oh yeah, it's K1. No, it's not, it's K, it's K5, one of the Ks.
A6. No, it's K5.
K5, yeah.
Oh, here it is. Model motion to accept the recommended bid from E&L Contractors, Inc. for exterior overcoat, dry interior partial repaint, and miscellaneous repairs. Is there support for that?
I support.
Oh. Okay. All in favor, say aye. Motion passes 6-0. Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks, Ted.
Next time.
Just-
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. GIS, let's see. And J3, let's see, this is Michael Lesich, finance. He's from Wood Hill.
I am
Michael,
here.
oh, there you are. Hi.
Hello.
Hello, good to see you. Everything's under control right now. I just put $20,000 in the bank today for some checks that I got. Billing should be going out this week or be done this week, and everything else seems to be under control. I don't know what else I can tell you. I don't do the accounting part. That would be Colleen. But I do the
Right.
elections and accounts payable.
Hey, Michael, quick question. Did we ever set up that meeting? I know it's an additional agenda item further down here, but I know we were trying to talk about AP.
We haven't set up the actual meeting. I did email
Okay.
Rebecca last week, and
Okay.
the instructions are we're gonna get that together very soon. But
Awesome.
kind of push that back a month, I believe, on your end.
Yep.
But ready and willing to get that going anytime that we can, so.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Yep.
Michael.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. And I don't know if
Just-
you were here at that point, but we did approve the payment of the bills, so we can move forward with everything that you had submitted, or the 2 invoices and anything else that we need to pay.
Great. I will run those checks. I will FedEx them probably tomorrow. You'll get them on Wednesday. And there is an additional postage check that I just got the invoice at 2:30 today. That'll be in there, and I'd like that sent over to KCI for printing the bills. But I'll let you know. I'll put a sticky note on it to make sure that one gets out right away. But Pfeffer, the audit bill is paid. I'm still waiting for the September legal bill. I think all the other legal bills are paid with this next run. And I believe that's it.
Great.
Thanks,
Well,
Michael.
thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Unfinished business, K1. Possible action proposed MOU with Scioto Township for ongoing IT, cash receipting, and accounts payable services. Clerk Flintoff?
Sure. We talked about this several times. As folks know, SIO and LASA have an agreement for the IT, specifically the BSNA data is what we host, and that's all we host. That's been going well, and I'm glad we've got that secured. As a reminder, Wood Hill's contract does not include cash receipting or payroll. Certainly, Michael, Colleen, the whole team have been amazing at doing cash receipting in a very inefficient way for us. It was the same inefficient way we've been doing it for about 15 years. And so I was waiting until Scioto Township elected a new treasurer who was interested in collaborating and taking it on. So this proposal for the MOU would expand the services provided by SIO to include cash receipting and accounts payable. So what that would do for customers is it would be a much more secure way to handle the money of LASA. Because our checks, as you know, this is the legal address for LASA. The checks have come here for a decade or more. They sit undeposited for too long. We adopted the motion to allow Ryan to open up a bank account, Bank of Ann Arbor. Over time, if we did go forward with this, the idea would be that we would move from Flagstar to Bank of Ann Arbor to make it easier for Ryan to do the deposits. So really K1 and K2 kind of go hand in hand, because if LASA, Webster, SIO all agree that we want to expand this agreement to provide better services to customers, which I'm very confident it will, because day in and day out, we're all doing a lot of this anyways, it would be really nice for a LASA customer to be able to walk into Scioto Township Hall and actually get a receipt. And we have the technology to do it. We have a team willing to do it. And then the accounts payable, Rebecca Maudie in our office would take that over. We're proposing a once a month cycle, which I think should be enough given the low volume of bills that LASA has. So I know that Webster has input, and I definitely want to get that. I do want to note that I have gotten input. This was drafted by the Scioto Township attorney, vetted a lot internally with SIO. It was reviewed by and I included input from Matt Jane, also talked about it with Kevin Decker, who is the agent for both LASA and SIO on a couple insurance questions. So with that, I'll open it up to comments and edits.
I do have a question, Michael. How often do our water bills, when do they go out? Utility bills? Is it
Every
once?
quarter? Yeah,
Every
they're
quarter.
quarterly and they go out. The billing date's always the 15th of the following month, so I'll make the billing date for this one October 15th.
And this does not propose to take on utility billing.
It is not.
No, this does not propose to take on utility billing. This proposes to take on cash receipting and accounts payable. I will just note, as secretary, formerly secretary/treasurer, however our articles have evolved, part of kind of, I or Barb Kaleja, now Ryan and I, are secondary signers. So, we're already, when Colleen says, hey, we need to move 125,000 from checking to class, I go in and I do that. When Michael processes the ACH, I'm the second person going in and approving that. And so I'll just say there's also some comfort, just because we're already kind of keeping an eye on things. But Wood Hill would remain our primary finance in charge of our books and also doing utility billing.
Okay, thanks for that clarification. Well, Clerk Flintoff, you said monthly, so I was wondering how, when the bills go out. Michael, when the
Yeah.
bills go out, it's for the whole of LASA, so everybody's
Yeah.
on the same billing cycle. They're not here in SIO. We have 3 billing cycles.
Correct. Yeah, we have 535 customers roughly, and the bills all go out 4 times a year. And I'd say we're closing in on 200 customers that have ACH. The rest are will pay via a check. And so that's your volume of checks is about 300 every quarter. That's what I
Okay.
estimate on checks you're going to receive and cash receipt. And accounts payable is done regularly, once a month or twice a month, whatever the influx of bills is, however you want to do that. But
Thank you. Michael, you had something to say and I.
Oh, no,
interrupted you.
that's actually really good about, like, I just had a question. Okay, so I saw, Jessica's $800 a month, and I was looking, how does that fit into like page 48? That C, I guess, is gonna be part of B, about the monthly fee. There's like 2 monthly fees. Are they? I just wanted to know how that was gonna work.
Yeah, you're on the MOU on what page?
Page 48. So what's that be? That'd be the last one or second. last
Oh,
one.
thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would suggest that be changed to be a monthly fee of 800 for both.
Okay.
And the way I came up with that is through our cost allocation plan. I mean, certainly it doesn't cover all of our costs. We're not aiming to. We're all in this for our residents. But it would offset some of the time of, in particular, our deputy treasurer and finance manager. So we looked at it as a portion of all the cash receipts we do, what portion of this that would be, and all of the checks that we cut, and we have a formula we use for that, so.
You just asked about monthly fee. The 800 is for both, so there would only be one line there and not.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Separate is IT.
Okay, so yeah, well, that was my question about IT, like so you're already doing that.
Correct.
So,
For about the last 9 months or so,
Okay.
yeah.
so how much about is that for them?
So we're not currently charging, I mean, for any ongoing, there was the initial setup cost. So what we have in here under B is all direct IT costs. So for example, let's say that something happened with the server. I mean, we're taking care of the LASA server with the same kind of care and feeding as we do the SIO server. So if something were to come up and we needed CTC to work, for a couple hours on LASA, we would pull that bill out and bring it to LASA.
Okay, thanks.
So, but right now, LASA has already paid for the equipment and licenses
Okay.
needed to have that segregated server space. It's being backed up with the same kind of, care
Right.
that we use, but it's really important. That's why the section for like the liability of the data, the hosting.
Right.
Well, does LASA have their own server? Or are they a segment on SIO's server?
Go ahead.
We're a partition of the master physical server, correct?
It just, LASA is so small, but we wanted to keep that firewall so that then the BSNA data, and again, the modules of the GL, AP and UB are what LASA pays for. Those are available, but for example, if we were to do this, how it would work is when somebody comes to the counter to pay a bill, we have, 2 cashier stations at the front of Township Hall. Ryan wouldn't log in as Ryan at SIO. Ryan remote desktops in. I would remote desktop in to journalize anything. So it's as if we're in a totally different building. So I just want to be super clear with everybody that we would be logging in with different credentials. That's currently how Michael, Colleen, and Ryan from Woodhill log in. They remote desktop in to the LASA segment here. And so it also works so that if ever there were a role for somebody at Webster Township to play in this process, you could just as easily be part of the process. It's not tied at all to being an employee of SIO.
And just to be clear, IT does not mean website or email accounts, correct?
Correct.
No, we've never talked about that and have kept that off the table because we're trying to get the core functioning taken care of. So we tried to specify that under 1A, but if we need more specificity, we can. We did put a standard that we would respond within 24 hours. You know, provide IT support to authorized LASA users as required. So let's say that somebody at Webster Township had a role to play in AP, then, we would make sure they had that support, that Woodhill or a future contractor or an employee would have that support.
So the procure any other necessary direct IT related goods or services relates to B under number 2.
Relates to, yeah, B and
But nothing above and beyond that.
yeah, really IT services. And I guess we could be more specific. We've reworked this language a lot, but it's really the hosting is the hosting and the backup is the core IT service. I mean, operation, if, for example, the laptop at the water treatment facility needed support, our IT people would support them. I mean, LASA's, used to have 2 laptops, now it has 1, so.
Yeah, if we could include, well, it says hosting under 1AI, but somewhere in there, hosting and backup services, or just to be a little bit clearer, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that. And then maybe also in 6, hosting and backup. I'll want to take this back through Matt, Jane, and the powers that be, but hosting and backup under 6 and hosting and backup under 1I. I mean, it
Oh,
took
yeah.
a lot of work for SIO to get to the point to have our own reliable server with backup. And so we're glad that we could extend it. It, certainly kept me up at night to have the prior situation in place.
Well, that was why I was asking about partitioning, because if it ends up that there's a server issue, the odds are that it's gonna be affecting SIO too. I mean,
Yes.
if there's a server-wide issue, it's gonna hit everybody on it.
We're all in it together is what we're offering. We're offering, it's a really nice offer from SIO because it is kind of sink or swim together.
Michael, do you have?
Oh, no, so I guess, so did you want now to take it back first and then have us do it the next meeting, or?
Well, Woodhill has been providing these services outside of a contract and like for so long. I don't want to rush anybody, but I do wonder, could we get any of the issues and questions out on the table and then see where we're at? I mean, if we're comfortable, I don't know if your board will need to approve this or you want to, we can get another draft, run it back through your attorney, the LASA attorney.
Actually, we did get something from our attorney, but this doesn't look particularly difficult. So it's like,
No.
and Tony was just wondering about the money would be, the fee thing, which you put in now.
Yeah, and I
So-
haven't taken the 800 to the board table. I can advocate for that and support that. I mean, I just want to get this to a place where we're we're comfortable. And I will say too, I'd suggest we also look at K2 alongside. Because K2 would be some proposed policy, you know, that would kind of outline how we do this work, which I want to make sure people are comfortable with.
So Webster Township has looked at this at K1 and K2 because a clerk on Flintoff, you have something in K2 saying Webster Township noted they have input.
Yeah, at our last meeting, Jeff noted that they just received some input from their attorney and wanted to bring it back to us. I
Okay,
just wanted to give enough space and time for that.
was that for both of these, K1 and K2?
I don't
Jeff
think-
or Michael?
I don't think we've seen the K2 one. But
This
not-
is-
is that new?
No,
Oh.
we've seen, this is the third meeting.
Oh, maybe I just didn't see it. Okay. Maybe because you had it last time.
I think it's all been part of the discussion.
Okay.
All related.
Yeah,
Right.
it's all related. So, the one thing I would like to see, just when we're talking about the charges is, I mean, like B, all direct IT costs. I would like a little bit more, specificity. Is that right?
Specificity.
Specificity.
It's hard to say.
Just when it says all direct IT costs related to LASA's portion of the server or their programming. And the same thing with payment for services, just to basically say that. I understand it's a portion of SiO's, server. But just to make sure that that is there, that it's their stuff. And I do remember the saying and having the fee. I really wish we had a cost for IT, but we're talking about stuff that comes up if there's issues in the future, that kind of thing. It's not
Yeah.
specific charges monthly. I get that.
And when I ran the cost allocation plan for LASA for IT, it would be really disadvantageous. It'd be bad for LASA. And the reason is because the way that we do it for SIO, which it's all rough cost allocation, right? But it's per user. We don't have anyone else it's not like our department has a, portion of our server. So this really would just be proposed real cost, no monthly, you're not paying our electric bills for the server. There's no ongoing,
Right.
it's just as it comes up.
Right.
But I like adding in more language about maybe even more of a description of the partitioned server that we have in place.
Right.
Sure.
Yep, and I think that's good. And I know one of the things that our attorney had mentioned was, the monthly fee. That it was open at the time that we originally looked at this and
Yeah.
having that number. I would also like to say, when we say monthly fee, that we could look at that revisited every so many years. So that way, if your costs
Absolutely.
go up, then we can look at that and revisit it. It's not a set in stone kind of thing. That should be put in there as well.
I agree. I wonder if we might amend section 3 term.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's the right place for it, but not just that either party may terminate the agreement, but either party may terminate, maybe something express about proposed written amendments or something at any time.
Or just say that we will revisit these costs. These costs will be revisited, at the beginning of the year. Every year henceforth.
Yeah, before our budget,
Yeah,
something like that.
or after your budget, so you know what it's gonna actually run.
Yeah, I mean, with my LASA hat on, that sounds like a way to kind of drive up these fees. If we regularly say we're gonna look at them each year.
I just wanna be fair.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. We'll look at the costs each year.
Otherwise, I think we take it,
Mhm.
we get those changes. And then we have that reviewed And if there's nothing major, I think we could take it to the board.
I think so.
Okay. And we would also need to name officers who would execute it on behalf of LASA,
Sure.
since Jillian and I, so, you know, two different folks,
Mm-hmm.
ideally from Webster.
Well, I would be one.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
sure.
And is there a second?
I'll second it.
I meant a second signer.
Second sign.
Oh,
To say that.
Yeah. And if we are to move this, I'm happy to support, and I appreciate, you know, we'll get one more draft. I do want to think about timeline. This will go to our meeting. I think we will need another meeting. If we could, I know that Michael, I know we're aiming for a handoff October 1. If the board is confident enough that we're going to reach an agreement on this, then we can start, you know, doing the cross training with Michael and Rebecca and start getting things in place if people are comfortable.
sure.
I'll make some changes, get them through Matt, Jane, and then I can take this to the board of SIO on October 14th.
Okay.
When would it go to the Webster board?
Our board meeting is the third Tuesday. So if we get the changes, I mean.
Yeah, we can put it on the agenda.
We possibly could take it then.
So that
Okay,
would be the 21st?
I think,
Yes.
yeah, today's the first
Yes,
one.
the
so-
21st.
Today's a Tuesday. Yeah, 21st.
so we could potentially adopt the proposed agreement for services with SIO Township as amended, subject to LASA attorney approval, Webster Township board approval, and SIO Township board approval.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That's a motion I just made.
Okay.
I support
I'll
that.
second it.
All right,
Well, we just need a
all right.
board to say aye.
Motion by Flintoff, support by D'Angelo.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion passes 6-0.
Great. Thanks for your work on that, everybody. So the next item is, you know, policies. We, you know, how we do cash receipting is, you know, needs to change. It's needed to change for 15 years. There's a proposed policy here. It's based on, you know, the model from Maynard Casterison that we reworked internally for SIO Township to provide good checks and balances. It is proposed to work very much like the way Ryan and I do cash receipting every day here at SIO Township, where Ryan and Joelle are receipting in all the money. So Ryan would be empowered to receipt in money for LASA, along with any of his designees in writing. I would be empowered to journalize the receipts, do any of the accounting for LASA, again, set forth in the LASA modules, and I would, you know, work with Barb and Rebecca on that too. So we would assure you, people would be trained. But this, I think, process here, I don't know what you think, Ryan, but my sense is people are going to see their bills paid much faster.
Yes.
And there will be much less of administrative headaches for Barb, for Michael. But more importantly than headaches for our staff and consultants is the service we would be improving.
Yes.
Let's take the cash receipting policy first and then talk about the accounts payable. Are there comments on cash receipting?
I just have one question overall. So this would be a daily practice, or how often, or just when the bills come in?
So these are payments.
Right, well, either way, it doesn't matter. I mean, just payments and
Generally, if there's loss of payments here, then this would be a daily practice, but obviously with this only being billed quarterly, there are periods of time where there probably wouldn't be any bills. So it may not be necessary for every day.
Okay.
For example, 45 or 50 days from now, once Michael's set the bills and several days have passed past the due date, there probably won't be any payments for a week or two.
Mhm.
And we may not have to complete the process at that point. But that's why it outlines that in step 2, each day or less frequently.
Yeah, and that is at the treasurer's discretion. We'd started with each day, but then like as Ryan astutely pointed out, even for SIO, some days there's just not deposits. Under step 1, second paragraph, I just want to note this. If a payment is made in cash, to my knowledge, we haven't gotten any payments for LASA in cash. My understanding, and Matt Jane's understanding is that, we may not want to just prohibit payments in cash. I think people have a right to pay in cash. But if they did, I just want you all to know, Ryan or I would be coming back to this board saying, hey, we'd like to approve payment for a safe for LASA, because we don't want to be keeping LASA cash commingled with SIO cash. So please, LASA customers, continue paying not in cash.
Yeah, I've never received cash.
And we wouldn't send it through the mail. Everyone
No.
be assured.
And it talks about, or anyone else that the Scioto Township Treasurer designates in writing. So if that happens, that would be provided to the LASA board, so we would know who that designee is.
Appendix A, the 3rd page, and this is how our SIO policy works too, that this would be, is designated by Ryan for receipting, is designated by me for any of the journalizing, but it's subject to LASA board approval.
Great.
So what we're saying is, this is LASA's policy. If SIO were ever not providing this service for LASA, LASA would update its cash receipting policy to have the Webster official or contractor or employee or whoever would do it. I don't know how this differs from, Webster's process, but I know for SIO, it was really just in the last year that for SIO Township, we got a solid cash handling policy in place, and it's been a huge improvement.
Yes.
We're sleeping better about that too. Ryan, what else do you want to add about this?
Overall, just as Clerk Flintoff said, this is adapted from SIO's policy. Yeah, I don't see anything big to add to it.
Right. I have a question. On page 53 is appendix A, but then on 54, there's like some additions.
That's the next one.
That's the accounts payable.
54 is a separate policy.
Oh, okay, I thought it was,
And honestly, it'll be nice for customers too, because they can come in, pay their bill. Ryan, Joelle, Fran can receipt it, and then also look up their utility bill for them. We can't do that right now.
I was looking. Oh, that's why. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
because it
we've,
wasn't bolded, so.
We've been holding lots of checks, with no policy. So also for SIOs on too, it makes SIO, I think it's some policy, whether we tear this up, but some policy, I think, is prudent for both LASA and SIO.
I think it looks fine.
Me too.
Andrea, are you still here?
Yeah.
You're so quiet. You're good with that?
Speak, Andrew, speak.
And when I looked,
Sorry, accounting isn't my field.
That's okay.
when I looked back, I couldn't find any policy for LASA or even like Sandy's notes of kind of how it was done. So it's, if we ever want to change it and improve it, we can, but this is a starting point. Yeah, we can modify it.
So we need a motion for this.
Sure, we can take them one at a time. Is there a motion to adopt the cash receipting policy as presented?
I'd make the motion to adopt the cash receiving policy as presented,
Cash handling.
or cash handling and receipt policy as presented.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? The cash handling portion is approved, 6-0. The accounts payable, is there a motion for that?
So this is a little more down and dirty because SIO doesn't yet have our accounts payable process documented. So I worked from what I have known LASA did in the past before we started bringing every single bill to the board. We will always continue to bring a list of bills paid, but what this policy does is proposes a little more flexibility and delegation of authority from the board in order to get our bills paid more timely. The question for this board is how much delegation of authority do we want to give? It's always I'm sure you've dealt with this in Webster as well. The way that this would work, the person assigned responsibility for preparing AP, LASA accounts payable, under the MOU, that would be the SIO finance staff, they will prepare and send a list of proposed claims for payment to the LASA board at least monthly. The LASA secretary treasurer will place these claims on the proposed LASA board meeting agenda for approval. Let's scratch that to LASA secretary is what it is currently. Under the in the articles, that term has flipped back and forth a lot, Jillian.
Yeah.
It's currently, I think it's currently secretary. The regular expenses that are within budgeted amounts, this is the delegation, may be paid without board approval after the review and approval by at least 2 of the 3 LASA officers. So we have 3 LASA officers under our current articles, a chair, a vice chair, and a secretary. And that's really kind of how informally it was done historically, was kind of 2 people. And we still have 2 check signers, which we keep in place. But this would allow those to be approved, so they'd be within budget. So you'd be giving the officers some authority here. And then we need to define which of these regular expenses, what we define expenses that are regular, okay? Regular fees for contracted services, including for the operator, engineer, financial consultant, legal fees, utilities, taxes. Initial, return the list, who shall then issue the checks. Checks will still require 2 signers. And then, of course, we'd get a list of prior check runs to each board for inclusion in the packet. We would keep all of the accounts payable documentation in the LASA BSNA AP module, which Woodhill already does, so we would just be continuing that. So what are folks' thoughts about how much we want to delegate and what types of bills you want to see at the board table? We can keep it so every single bill comes to the board table, but also, we meet at least quarterly, and so that doesn't make good sense. So how do you want to approach it?
So a big question that I have is, when we're talking about these fees, what's the highest one that we have there that hits every month?
Like 12,000? They're significant.
That'd be for F&V,
That's what?
for F&V ops.
Okay.
Is that, or Michael, can you give a more precise answer?
About 11,300 a month.
Okay, that was close.
Yep.
What's the second biggest one then, Michael? Do you know?
It would be chemicals like sulfur dioxide, things for the water treatment plant. And then pump repairs and things like that. So those are the big expenditures. F&V operations, and then our chemicals, and then every month we have a sludge hauling service, and that's $2,210 a month. So, and those are all pretty consistent. Anything like a pump would would go through a process of approval by you. Brandon would run that by you and say, we need this pump, and give you the bills. And then the last but not least is water main breaks or services like that, but those are on an as needed basis and generally emergency repairs.
And so in my first draft, I'd had a provision in the August version I brought here to, have an emergency provision. Matt recommended I take that out. And so just, know if there's an emergency, we'll be having a special meeting probably.
So I have a question about the legal fees, because I know right now we're using more than normal. Is there like a retainer or anything we pay Matt? Or is this just as we go?
It's hourly. He,
Yeah.
provides I think is it $2.50 an hour? He provides this, he committed to providing the same rate that Jim Fink does instead of his regular, rate, which is closer to twice that. I will say our legal fees, for reasons we understand, but we used to spend about $1,000 on legal fees a year.
Oh.
So I do think that's an area where we need to, kind of, we may want to have board approval for, we may want to delegate up to a certain amount, but that is one area where our costs have varied recently.
Okay, and I think because I'm trying to work with this, what do I do with the building while I remodel? And I think up to a certain amount would be very doable, right?
Sure, so we do, in SIO, we do up to 5,000.
And I agree with that, but I mean, some of them, that's why I was asking what the bills are, and when we're talking about something like F and V, I mean, we know that their yearly cost is X. So it's not gonna go above that unless there's anything special, so dividing that by whatever we're gonna be dividing it by, we know what those are. And that's something that we can say, approved at the beginning of the year, and then it's that much or
Mhm.
whatnot. Yeah, usually, especially if there's an emergency thing, a lot of times you can say, and if there's an emergency, like a complete shutdown, or you can go through those things, that qualifies, and then, whoever is in charge of that can say, yes, do it. Instead of, I mean, you need to have that flexibility.
I agree.
Right. So I don't see any issue with it. I just think that we gotta make sure that those are things that, and it does have some of that language like approved within budget.
Yeah.
So,
And it is, yeah, regular expenses that are within the budgeted amounts. And
Yeah.
they may be paid without board approval. I would just,
yeah,
I know that all of us would use our good judgment that if there's something unusual, they don't have to be paid without board approval.
Right.
We can, when in doubt, bring it to the board.
right. But I don't think we should be sitting here saying, okay, here's the $200 grass mowing bill.
Agree. And
It's-
we used to kind of, we had that delegation, but never adopted by the board.
Sure.
And so I think getting some delegation so we can be more efficient is good. So I put the review and approval by at least 2 of 3 LASA officers. I think informally in the past, I don't know if it was just the chair. I think it was just the chair. So this would be 2 of the officers just initialing. And I personally feel more comfortable with that. At SIO, we certainly have more than one person. We don't have any one person signing off actually on any dollar amount here in SIO. We always have 2 pairs of eyes, and I think that's smart.
And as long as, we have that reporting, like, these are the checks for the quarter. And we can look over those and say, okay, why did we pay F and B twice? Or, then we can look at those to see if there's any irregularities. Otherwise, I think it makes sense.
Okay.
I would move to approve the proposed policy on accounts payable.
Support.
Subject to LASSA attorney approval.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Oppose? None? Motion passes 6-0.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, next on the list is discussion only proposed restated and amended articles of incorporation of the Loch Alpine Sanitary Authority of Webster and Scioto Townships.
So good.
A thought, is given that I had this prepared for discussion a little differently. I was wondering if it might be helpful. Last we left off, we said we were all gonna think about different aspects that we might want to look at, different kind of components of it and discuss. I have started a table here on my laptop, and I would be happy to kind of, take more detailed notes. And just kind of go through topic by topic. Would it just be helpful to have kind of a discussion of what changes, if any, we want to make, or if we want to, we talked about kind of having a kind of more open-ended discussion when last we talked to Matt Jane about it. And it might be good to kind of get topics on the table for further research.
I don't know where to start, because we have a draft in front of us. And we have the original one, I mean, we've got the documentation. The one thing that I mentioned before, the stuff in the draft, specifically Article 5, changing that, the only thing from the previous one that I would like to see change was essentially, in the previous one, it said the supervisor, the clerk, and one member from the Board of Trustees from each municipality. And then I believe it said a representative from LAIA, correct? Or Loch Alpine?
Yeah.
I would like to see that remain the same. The one thing that I would like to see change is that if any of them don't want to serve the officers, that then they don't pick who replaces them. The board picks who replaces them.
Wait, just to be clear, the board, from Webster and
Or,
Scioto.
Yes,
Not
they're
Loch.
prospective representatives,
Yep.
or LAIA would choose their own.
Right.
Right, the prospective representatives are chosen by those specific organizations or boards.
And can I just kind of talk through this idea? So
Sure.
let's say that scenario. So there's because this is exactly the fuzziness that started this whole thing when Will Hathaway stepped down,
Okay,
and why Jim recommended, some of those changes. Okay, so let's just talk through that. So if we were to name, it shall be the clerk or it shall be the supervisor, and then a clerk or a supervisor wants to step down, then is it just that if the person is not willing to serve or
for
resign?
whatever.
Yeah,
Too
yeah.
busy.
And so I did on this table, I kind of went through the history of like when this all changed, because as you know, it used to just be the full boards, right? When it was 5 and 5.
Yep.
And then an interesting clause in our current articles that we haven't been following with membership is the resident of LAIA is appointed by LAIA, but then there's a clause, and we've not been doing this. It says, members who are not elected, I'm paraphrasing, but members who are not elected township officials qualify by taking a constitutional oath of office with each of their respective clerks. And so it's a small procedural thing,
Okay.
but it kind of gets a little bit more to some of what is in the May 2025 draft of having some sort of loss of board blessing.
Mhm.
It is a constitutional oath that everyone would take. So for loss of board, it says for those who are elected, the constitutional oath we took when we were elected counts. But like when Patrick McLaughlin was appointed, he was a resident appointed by the SIO board. You know, he would need to have one of the clerks give him an oath.
Well, I think that's a really good idea. Mostly, well, what they're, or when I went to training, one of the big deals was have them take the oath because then it kind of internalizes the responsibility. But it also kind of points out the fact that even if you're not an elected township official, when you're sitting here, because we're still a public body, you're still kind of on the hook for things like misconduct in office and all that other stuff that, we all have to deal with.
So
So I think that's good.
Yeah, and there's
So
other,
this Patrick, I don't know the people.
Sure.
Did the supervisor basically say he doesn't want to be on it, and then they brought somebody else in that wasn't a board member?
Yeah, and SIO did that. And SIO has appointed residents, and part of that was because of the desire to have more Loch Alpine representation. Because it's only 7, right? You only got 7 people on your board. What are the chances that somebody's a member of Loch Alpine? So it was actually before Will stepped down. Patrick was appointed to the seat. He was on the board at some point, but he was also on the LASA board as one of SIO's representatives, but we only had 2 elected officials. So it was the supervisor, Will Hathaway, the clerk, Jessica Flintoff, and community resident, Patrick McLaughlin. And that is just what was done. And
And I don't believe that the articles said it has to be chosen from the board.
And our current articles do not say it has to be chosen from the board. It's a little hard to read, but I agree with you, and Jim Fink agreed at the time too, which was why he was trying to get more clarity. Regardless of whether it's particular officers of a township board, my personal feeling is LASA is so specialized that I like the idea of increasing the chances that a township board might appoint somebody who lives in the LASA area. I don't live in the LASA area. Nobody on the SIO board happens to, which is unfortunate. But if somebody did, I would prioritize them. For example, Webster, I think you all have, and I'm not suggesting anything what Webster does, but you have somebody who lives in the LASA area. If I had somebody who lived in the LASA area, I would be promoting, putting them on the board because I think it builds more of a connection. If we had somebody on the SIO Township Board who was an engineer, who had run a water system, I would want to put them forward. So I just feel like it opens up more flexibility to get better, more appropriate members by not constraining it to a supervisor or a clerk. But I mean, that's obvious. It just depends on what the goal is. Do you want to try to promote certain expertise? I don't think there's anything particular about being a clerk or a supervisor. I don't think either of those particularly make people better LASA members.
So you're saying the last article, which is 98, correct?
yeah, that would be 1998. Amendment 3.
Yeah, and it's you've really got to take your time with that one because
Well,
it says that the third member, so it's a supervisor or clerk,
Yep.
and the third member from each township board selected by the township board
which he or she is a member,
Yep.
correct? So that's the town, it has to be somebody from the board. But then when you go down, it talks about in the event that any member of the authority board who is a member of the township board chooses not to serve, that member may nominate any person who is a qualified elector.
Exactly. So that
Yeah.
was the provision that opened it up and.
Right, that's what I want to, and again, I guess I wasn't specific enough. That should be, it should be determined by the board, not by the person. And the board should choose from their people. Again,
From the board.
I understand what you're saying as far as not everybody on the boards have experience with sanitary or water or whatever. But I think we can make up for that with people on the operating committee. Those people can have a say on the operating committee. People that are up here still answer to the people. And that's the thing that I would like to see continue. And if we need to clean up that language, we should do it.
So that it would remain board members.
Was that what you meant?
It
Like,
would, there would
Yeah.
be
yeah,
no,
board?
no room for a resident.
No,
Okay.
no, and the only, I mean, the normal ones had LAIA or Loch Alpine because they were the original and the only ones there, and you're what, 80% now?
Yes, great.
So 80% is still a large majority, so and I do agree with we still need to follow that, have to take an oath.
Mhm.
I think any representative from LAIA that sits on the board has to take an oath, just like anybody else, and that's to represent LASA. Because especially, and you run into issues that you have people that you may have conflicts of interest with when you're a representative that lives in the subdivision or the development. So those kind of things, you have to take that, and we need to go through that, and it should be at the first meeting, LAIA should decide who their person is gonna be, and they come and they take the oath of office. And they have to do it prior to.
And
I
the
agree.
LAIA open it up to the other two,
They can do whatever they want.
HOA.
I don't think that LAIA says it has to be
Okay.
What
somebody
it,
that lives there. I don't
and-
know what their policies are.
the original link, sorry, Jillian, but just, this is important because the 71 amendment,
Mhm.
when they added, when we went from 10 members to 7 members.
Yeah.
Right? So 71, it says the 7th member will be appointed by LAIA to represent the areas serviced by the facilities of the authority. So I think originally when that was added, the intention, unintention, there were probably other intentions, but the intention of being representative of the people in the service area is clear. And
Yeah, I think that kind of stuff can be cleaned up. And so we don't have a situation that runs into. And honestly, if, I haven't heard any correspondence or anything that we've had that these other subdivisions feel like they're not being represented. Maybe there has been some of that. I haven't
Just to
heard.
Participate, they just want to stay abreast.
Yeah, I haven't heard any of that. I think that if there are issues that we can make sure, talk to LAIA about communication between the different ones. But I don't see that, I mean, I think we can clean up what we have. What we had in the draft is a huge change, and that's the thing that I don't think we needed.
the change in the draft is, aside from, you mean regarding membership, would be that the board would appoint all 3 of each of
Correct.
its members.
Correct. And I mean, quite honestly, I think it's important that the clerk and the supervisor stay on it. And again, if there's too much on your plates or whatnot, you guys could decide, hey, I got too much going on.
It's not about that. I just think, over time, yeah, well, I've already said, I think you just increase the probability you're gonna get members with the right skills. I don't think it's that important. I think the other point is, it sounds like you feel like it's very important that they be elected officials, which
Yeah.
I'm also noting that point.
Absolutely, I do.
And the amendment 3, does talk about terms. So it begins on November 20th.
Yeah.
And then, well, that will need to be changed because I believe the state we're moving to December 1st.
I don't know if that went through.
I
Did
thought
it?
it had,
Okay,
something through the MTA came through, but well, let's double check that. But if that's the case, but maybe this should say, effective date shall, and their term shall expire the day of.
Right.
That the term ends from that you're elected to whatever. There's a way that we could reword that. How often has it changed from November 20th? I mean, before it was a different, but that was years before, so it's not an often,
No.
okay.
no, I think throughout, the member terms have been the same as the elected terms for township office. The only other one, there is some language that the LAIA appointee would be for 2 years. Currently, I think Andrea, to my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong, Andrea, you're appointed. It's not important. I'm just using this as an example, but I don't think there's any particular term, right, that you're appointed to. Yeah. And that's similar with it's up to, for example, Ryan's seat or Jeff's seat. I think that term was set by each of our respective boards.
Oh, no, it's a 4-year term.
Yeah, I think it's 4-year term.
It says it right here. Be a member of and shall be appointed by the Board of Directors of LAIA, a Michigan corporation, for a term of 4 years commencing at noon on November 20th of the year in which the general election.
Oh, there you go. Sorry. Excuse me.
What's the same?
But I think in the past, there was something about the LAIA appointments, was the year after the board was elected.
Yeah,
3
tried to
years,
stagger it. I think.
something like that, but.
And I think also the LAIA was often the chair. I don't know if that aligned with that. But regardless, definitely the idea's been the same, an annual meeting, appoint officers.
Yep.
Typically 3 officers. The thing that has changed back and forth over the years is the treasurer, and whether we have a treasurer, whether they have to be a member of the board outside. And, because we contract out, I think that makes sense. But I know that had come up before, because sometimes there's a benefit to having an officer who's a treasurer.
So the other thing is, because I remember we talked about, like, even though I don't have to, like having some control over the LAIA member about like, us approving it, not unreasonably withheld, one of those kind of things. If you think like, it gives us a little more, I don't think they're gonna like give us an axe murderer, but you never know.
So what would that look like? That, under the, May draft, that would be some sort of a blessing, or a, affirmation, but under our current ones, what are you thinking that would look like, Mike? LAIA has just as much of a right as each township board to determine recruitment.
I guess that was the thing, just because, I didn't know you were worried, and for good reason, like, it doesn't look good. If like,
No, I just think it could work better. I'm not concerned about
Oh,
how it looks. Yeah.
so, yeah, no, I just thought we were, you might, thought maybe you could, or Matt could come up with language about like overseeing that appointment somehow.
What do you want? I think so. And let me try to get the ideas down.
Okay.
So why do you, this is just to gain understanding. So why would LASA board want to oversee?
Well, I do think. Well, I think that was kind of like for that other memo, even the 2009 one, like this has been kicking around for a while about, right? I mean, the whole, I don't really know. I'm just thinking maybe. I'm not really sure about like exactly where I'd put the line, but it's gotta be like kind of a,
And I guess,
kind of a veto, but not like for no reason, kind of a, just in case.
No.
Or you don't want that? Okay, so. that was my-
No, because there's no way,
So figure
there's no
out,
way to look at that and have it done to not be skewed. I
okay,
mean, the bottom line is there's no way to look at it that if there's a conflict of personalities that somebody couldn't push to have that person removed just based on, no, I don't care how you word it, you could make it stick like that. I would say that the bottom line is, it already says that that person basically serves at LAIA's pleasure.
okay.
They're the ones that elect it. If we had an issue with that person, then we need to address it with LAIA.
Well, if they're appointed for 4 years
It
though,
doesn't matter. LAIA can probably rescind it. They can vote somebody else new in.
well, I think we need to be careful there about how much detail we put in the articles then, because I agree. If it says 2 years, let's say for an example, a term says 2 years or 3 years, whatever. I don't know if we can. Jeff, I don't know that a board.
No.
I don't know that the LAI board can. I mean, I think that's part of the danger of putting so much detail like term lengths in there
right,
without a particular provision. I mean,
But they also don't get to pick us, the people of the townships do. Pretty much. I mean, especially a supervisor and a clerk. If you're automatically on this, LAIA is not picking it. They don't, if they have issues with one of us, they don't have anything to do with it.
right.
Well, and that's
Under-
true just generally,
So-
if they elected us in.
Right.
We're not.
I think the biggest thing is, you let them pick their representative. It is who it is. And we basically have the oath that they have to take to represent LASA. That's,
But I'll tell you, as I said, the original amendment said appointed by LAIA to represent the areas serviced by the facilities of the authority. That's when LAIA covered it. So I think that even a purpose of, because currently our articles don't really state why it's LAIA. If we could even add something about to represent the service area.
sure, I agree with that.
Because through the amendments, what's
Yep.
gotten lost is the why.
Right, you lose some of that.
Why
Yep.
LAIA?
No, I agree, and that clarity should be in there, that it's to represent all areas there.
Yeah,
Oh,
right. Oh, go ahead.
oh, no, so as Jeff's talking, I'm thinking like, so what about the case where they want to appoint someone who has a conflict of interest? I know it's probably not going to come up that much, right? But
Such as,
They want to purchase the sewer part of it and.
yeah, or something like,
Water.
they work for F&B.
yeah, something like-
Yeah, something extra.
I mean, or, yeah, well then. It's a good question.
Or a contractor.
At that point, there could be legal ramifications.
I work for a local
Beyond that.
municipality. That's,
No, we're
Yeah,
not,
but it
we're,
doesn't,
nobody's talking about current.
yeah,
I mean, but I think with conflict of interest, I mean, maybe, because you can have a
Okay.
conflict of
Yeah.
interest.
But-
You could have a clerk and you're stuck with me,
absolutely.
right? Because the people elected me.
Yep.
And you feel it's important that it says the clerk. The clerk doesn't. The clerk thinks we should have, some flexibility so that the Scioto Township Board, if the clerk had a big old conflict of interest, because the clerk works for SF and V, LASA could save itself a lot of time by letting Scioto Township Board work that out and think, maybe we shouldn't appoint the clerk because she runs F and V. That would be a conflict. Maybe we should, I'm just saying there's that, but short of that, let's say you want to lock it in. So you got 4 people, it's definitely going to be, no matter the conflicts they have. And then you've got one person, the LAIA appointee, who, you know, I trust LAIA to use their good judgment, but I don't know if what you're looking for is more of a kind of conflict of interest clause in here, or something for all members. I don't think we should treat one member
I
differently.
talked with Matt Jane about that today, just because I said, Scioto Township, we have, even in our agenda items, we have declare conflict of interest, because we have so many things that we have to deal with that it could be, and, or even a perceived, so we should have some type of provision in our articles regarding conflict of interest.
But, okay, so, because I'm looking at this for other things too, like our ethics policy we don't have.
Yeah, we don't either.
So, like, there's a statute that governs us as township officials.
Correct.
And it's kind of, I mean, there's conflict of interest thing in there, but it's a little narrower. It's mostly like, don't vote on anything when your business is involved kind of thing. And that would be okay for us. I mean, I think it would just work. And if we had that kind of, for the LAIA person, like, it's a very narrow conflict.
But-
Yeah.
But I would say like 2 different things. Are you talking about, because what Mike's talking about is a conflict of interest in being a member of LASA. What Jillian raised is a conflict of interest on decisions that come before us. We can always develop bylaws or rules of order or whatever, so that like we all promise if a decision comes before us and, I have a conflict of interest, I'm not gonna. But what you're talking about is something a little more fundamental, Mike. And I think you make a really good point. I just don't think the point applies only to the LAIA. I think your very good point, applies to all 7, applies to at least 5 members, if not 7. Because our articles say it's got to be the clerk, no matter who she is. It's got to be the supervisor, no matter who he is, and it's got to be that whoever LAIA appointed. You could potentially have a pretty fundamental conflict with all 5 of those. And I also just think if you're worried about a conflict, which I think it's possible, especially when you're talking about operating a utility, we should just maybe build something out in the articles, but that would apply to all 7.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we're going along with a bunch of what ifs. I mean, how often has this happened? And the one big thing was somebody got put on there that, in my opinion, should have been a board member. Previous to this, there was.
There is a lot of times where SIO has we've just not followed the articles, at least
Right.
SIO.
Right, well, and that's an issue about just not following articles.
Yep.
So, I mean, the bottom line is they need to be cleaned up. We need to get it to where, in my opinion, it should be board members and it stays LAIA picks their person. I don't know any other
Yeah, I only have,
changes that we really need, other than some of the specific ones that I brought up. Like, if you don't want to do it, it does go to the board and they choose somebody from amongst their people.
and see, well, okay, so I'm a little bit not with Jeff, only because, say Tony doesn't want to do this, as a theoretical thing. Like so the one board member we have who's in Loch Alpine is too committed to do this, which means I'm left with, I've my board members on everything. So like that third person,
We're spread thin.
I
Right.
don't have a problem with, someone who's in Webster Township, who's in the service area or something like that, like a little more flexibility. But only because at this current time, I'm gonna have a hard time filling Tony's
Mhm.
spot, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or
like,
right now, Tony fills Tony's spot.
Right, yeah, so when she decides not to.
if she decides not to.
Right, so I do agree with Jeff with having the board appoint the person
I
as a
mean,
clerk or
Because
supervisor.
I think, a clerk or a supervisor, I mean, that's why Kingsley, and it was, kind of funny in retrospect, but, John Kingsley was like, his jaw hit the ground. He's like, what? I didn't know supervisors could step down. I mean, he was joking. He was, but the important parts of the articles have stayed the same, like the purpose of LASA has never changed. Our fiscal year that we commit to auditing ourselves every year, even though we're not required to, has never changed.
It does seem like it's usually Article 5 or Article 7. Those keep
Yeah.
fluctuating. And I mean, there's been, what, 3 renditions?
There's-
It seems like that's.
It's-
the original.
Well, there's,
Yeah, 4,
there's,
I don't know.
no, it's not renditions. That's part of why
It's
our
amendments.
attorney rewrote it because it was such a pile. It's an adoption with 3 amendments.
Yes,
And
Right.
so you overlay them all.
right.
Um,
And I think cleaning it up is important, and so,
Yeah, but the drafts, they really narrow things down.
it
That's,
substantively, there are no topics left. I mean, there's nothing left out. It is cleaner. It is just that much cleaner. When you actually look through the repetition,
hi, Ted.
um,
bye, Ted.
it has a board of trustees and it has an operating committee. The other thing that has been consistent since 1957 is that the operating committee may carry out administrative functions as long as they're in harmony with the adopted policies. The other thing that's been consistent since 1957 is that the chair and other officers have no additional executive or administrative authority unless granted by a board. So it's really been set up to have the operating committee and the board, and then officers, as delegated by the board. So I just want to say there's not been so much change. And I would guess that some of these membership decisions, have just been probably when the Webster and Scioto Township boards, one of them grew to 7 instead of 5. And they were like, hey, what do we do?
Well, I would like, and we're running out of time. I mean, we're supposed to be done in 10 minutes. I don't know if anybody's in here later, but I would like to see, and unless anybody has any issues with them, those changes that I brought up. We can take a look at that.
Okay.
And I mean, we kind of covered the timeline for appointment, right?
Well, that's all contingent on,
Yeah, I mean,
there's
it's
no,
all
that's
contingent.
irrelevant at this point.
So, and as I mentioned before, we have this is functioning right now. I don't think we've had any issues with this. Obviously you did have an issue. I mean, not SIO in general, because there was a problem before, but we still got so much stuff to do with cleaning up our policies and procedures and all that other stuff, so.
Well, that's been K4.
Okay, any other proposed changes to get drafted up and back to the board?
That's quiet.
I'd like this to, be sent out to the HOAs. Once we have a draft, I'd like it to be sent out to the HOAs and give them a chance to refer back.
Yep.
Get their comments, sure.
I mean, yeah, I think once the LASA board does anything widely available are the current ones and the May draft. I mean, I would encourage this board though to clean it up. I do think it's poor form to have something from 1957 with another 4th or 5th Amendment. It's a disaster.
Oh, no, yeah, we agree.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Because everybody's like, why is this so short? And when
Yeah,
you
no.
really take the time to look at it,
No.
it's because it's clean.
It needs some housekeeping, there's no
It's
doubt.
clean, it's done in a word processor, done on a typewriter.
Yeah, the Ann Arbor News does not exist.
Right.
Like, there's certain
Hey.
things.
It's not done with typesetting.
You still need, a newspaper or record because it's in the Clean Water Act.
I know,
That's
but,
still gonna have to be there.
and agree, and the whole then approach to articles is, less is more.
Yeah.
You know, things, because
Well,
certainly the clean water.
I disagree with less is more.
Okay,
Sometimes, because I do think that less sometimes causes more problems.
in articles though?
Yeah,
I think
in
bylaws,
articles, I
okay.
think being specific, yes, it ties your hands sometimes, but sometimes having your hands tied like that are good. It's good, and it doesn't give too much leeway for other stuff, and that's. It's a fine line. I mean, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. It just depends on what you're saying. Dealing with contracts, which is similar to articles. Sometimes you want to be specific on what you want. Sometimes you don't want to, basically rub yourself in. So, yeah, I think we really need to look at it, and hopefully, once we get that cleaned up and everything incorporated in it.
So when I ask Matt to redraft, shall I ask him to do a modern format of our current articles with what we've discussed?
When I read through the original articles, what I did was, okay, so there's, for example, take Article 7. So in the original, there's Article 7, but then there's Amendment 1, 2, and 3. Well, Amendment 3, those Article 7 would be the most recent, and then I went back and crossed off the old Article 7s just so it could.
Correct.
Wouldn't be so, yeah, and then everything else, I did that with everything else that was amended in 3, but. And then just made notes on different. I'm looking for an example.
Well, and some of the article numbers change.
Yeah,
I mean,
Right.
7 became 5. and-
Yeah, I'll kick it back to Matt, but I think we
Yeah.
got our
I think so.
ideas. Thank you.
It would be nice to have not 3 amendments.
Right.
I know.
It's like, which amendment was that? What year?
yeah, Article 10 of the.
Yeah.
Original
I-
is about the roles of officers, and I think
Yeah.
that's still in place.
Which
Yeah.
page?
And then the different font is.
Which page, Jillian?
Oh, this would be page 3 of the original. Let me double check them. Okay, so that would be, yeah, it's Article 10 of the original. Operating committee, roles of officers, so.
Yeah.
I think, once. Then we'll have to go through and look at all of those as well, because, some of the wording changes, because here it says the secretary shall be the recording, and then the treasurer shall, so it separates the secretary and treasurer.
But then
and-
but then it was changed back.
Correct, so that type of thing. Oh. And could we have size 14 font?
Oh, yeah. The new stuff.
Yeah.
You don't like Caroline as well?
Or -10?
Yeah.
Meeting schedule?
Oh, yes, let's do that. And then we'll just, the other, see the meeting schedule, 2026. Okay, so we
We don't have any meetings yet for 25 though, is my concern.
don't have any more. This is the last regular that was scheduled
Yeah,
for this year.
Yeah, I would propose having another regular meeting yet in 25. I
Okay.
mean, I think we should.
I would agree.
Yeah, me too.
November,
Particularly because we don't have these policies passed, the MOU, we're gonna have
Right.
bills to pay. I mean, honestly, to keep our bills paid. Yeah, I think we need at least one more meeting, but probably 2, given everything that's going on.
I
Well,
definitely think we need one for having you guys taking the stuff back to the board about having, all that.
okay, so, October 14th and the 21st are the, Sile and Webster, board meetings.
Yep.
So why not the first, because today's the 6th. What about November 6th?
That'd be the first Thursday.
Oh, wait, that's the first, the November 3rd? That would be,
It's the day before the election.
oh crud.
These
How about the Monday after?
The 10th, the only thing I would tell you is that the 11th is a holiday.
Yeah,
But
well,
other than that, I'm fine with it.
I'm fine with Monday, the 10th.
um,
I don't have a conflict.
okay, so Monday, November 10th at 3.
That's fine.
Mhm.
Okay, and this is for,
Very good.
oh, sorry, Jeff.
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I'm just wondering, do we want to have it, the 10th too is, our next ops meeting is the 13th.
Oh,
So it's
Let's-
right before
let's,
that.
yeah, it's in this is weird because this week we have an ops meeting and we're kind of backwards, so it was really
Yeah,
difficult
I'm
to get
just
the agenda
wondering
together. How
if
about
we
the
might-
17th?
Yeah, I was wondering about 17th. Cause that way we would have the ops meeting on the 13th and then 17th, we would have a regular meeting.
I think the 17th is fine. I would just ask if Webster Township could be on standby to host if needed.
Okay.
We are going to be doing some HVAC construction here at some point.
Right.
It's okay, everybody. We used to rotate.
Yeah, I forgot about the
It's all right.
HVAC.
Yeah, we're gonna be construction.
I'm not in that room though.
So just, we'll plan to have it here at Meeting Hall, but just ask if you could consider.
It'll be fine. That means you only have one every day. that
We
week.
could have a 40, hey, folks, we could have a 40-minute meeting next time, just saying.
Fast.
We
Do you
could.
want to keep it the 10th and then the last operations, let's see if we can move it to the 6th?
There
I can
could
tell
still
you
be
the
sync.
6th is out for me.
Okay, maybe that's why we made it the,
Yeah, the 6th is out.
okay, well, look,
5th is okay.
is the 10th,
Sure.
no, I have a road advisory committee meeting. Jess, the HVAC, I haven't been paying attention to the schedule. Would the 10th interfere with HVAC?
Possible.
It's just possible. So let's, again,
You could totally. do
you
it.
guys, we can host at Webster, we can host somewhere else.
Right.
Let's not let that stop us.
Right.
Okay,
Do we want the 10th or the 17th?
Jeff.
Hey. I don't care. I think they're both bad, but that's okay.
There's moving it to December.
No, I think I can.
We
make-
have, I think we got
can make-
business.
Let me put
yeah.
it this way, I think I can make both, I just won't like it. So I'll be cranky.
Okay, then you.
Agreed.
December 17th.
Agree, Jeff.
I vote the 10th, just to get this done with,
Okay.
so we can
Oh,
go.
yeah.
All right,
Okay.
and do you want to schedule one for December, a month later?
Same time on the 10th, 3 to 5,
Well, it would be December 8th.
I mean, November 10th, 3 to 5.
Oh, yes, November 10th, 3 to 5.
And then Monday, December 8th, 3.
Sure.
And again, tentatively, we can have them here. I'll let you know if we need to change, but would just ask for your accommodation
Yeah.
if needed. Thank you.
Okay, that's good for everyone, the December 8th. Andrea?
I don't think I have any conflicts right now.
Okay, great. Okay, so for 2026,
Motion to determine that at our next meeting in November.
well, Christy is wanting to secure that in the Granicus.
Is there a
proposed
schedule?
Well, so it would just be quarterly again?
It doesn't, no, we need to set the frequency. The articles just say at least quarter, but I would much prefer to. I think we need more frequent meetings and I would much rather just get those on the books. Webster, what is your cadence of meetings for 26?
You mean,
Like board meetings or?
well, we're just gonna, I mean, let's see, third Tuesdays, board meeting, third Wednesdays, planning commission, which Jeff is on both, obviously. And,
Don't know about our roads committee yet.
but
Third Monday sounds great.
It's usually,
add the whole week.
it's usually not Monday.
I wonder,
It's usually one day
I-
have.
go ahead, Jillian.
The second Tuesday,
Fridays, you can come here anyway.
the second Tuesday in January, because it seems like November and December, we're going with the second Tuesday.
I would like to avoid the second Tuesday since that'll hit our board meeting days, a lot of days.
Yes.
Oh, right. And we have planning commission.
Yeah, I wonder if, so I'll be bringing the SIO board calendar to our October 14th meeting
Okay,
for discussion. I know on our end,
yeah, we'll bring that.
you guys are probably getting your 26 calendar together as well. I would agree with Ryan's motion,
Okay.
to, if somebody could take the time to come up with a draft list of dates and times.
I don't kill us, do you, Julian?
Hmm.
Wait until the town.
No, well, other than
Then we can
Christie.
come with- Yeah, the calendar. Who's Christie?
Christie's our office coordinator slash,
Christie don't have to deal.
yeah, she sent out email today saying, everybody get your calendars in.
Oh,
So I said, well, we're gonna be talking about that today.
If you have problems, you can call Andrew.
Okay. That's fine.
All right. We'll settle it next time.
All right, so that'll be an agenda item.
Yeah.
For November 10th.
Bring Webster.
yes.
Okay, well,
And when we're thinking about that. Are we still looking at, do you want a front end loader? Like saying we'll try to meet 2 or 3 times early? And then start to spread it out to quarterly, or do you want to see every 2 months? What do you think, Jess? What do you?
I mean, my sense is that, especially if we're gonna be having a change in membership, which sounds like we will, I don't know. I think that we need to be meeting every 4 to 6 weeks.
The operations committee will be busy in this with, the water tower. I mean, well, theoretically, it could just breeze through and have no problems, but it also could hit a snarl, you know, if there's, when they dig at this, there's further repairs that.
Yeah.
Were originally spotted.
Yeah, and we've talked about asking the operating committee to come up with a lot of proposals for board review, a lot of policies for board review, so I do want to keep those moving. But that's my sense is, you know.
Okay.
yeah, and also, loss of pay. And Tony had brought something up the last time, but then I think there was also about looking at the third party, which Jess, were you gonna bring that? I
No,
can't remember the
Tony
name.
was gonna bring some comparisons. We played some phone tag, but I don't know where we're at.
For meetings,
Um,
compensation.
Yeah, Tony was
Yeah.
running point on that.
okay. I can reach out to her. Okay, well,
Motion to adjourn?
Public
we have-
comment.
yeah,
Thank
public
you.
comment. And again, this is the time for the members of the public to speak to the LASA board for up to 5 minutes on any matter. We do not have anyone present, and there's one hand I can see that is raised, Rob Pattinson.
Hey, Rob.
Hi, everyone. Rob Pattinson, Scioto Township resident, not a LASA resident. Thank you for the diligent discussion. Jess, you just said something very quickly there at the end about a change in membership, and then you said me. Does that mean you're considering resigning from LASA?
maybe, I said maybe.
Oh, I thought you said me.
Based on the prior discussion.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you for the clarification. You
Sure.
surprised me.
Sure, yeah.
Oh, was that it?
Is that it?
Oh, I guess so. Anyone else?
Hang on.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, is there
Second.
support? All in favor, say aye.
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 At 5:07. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.